fighting and trouble are my middle name. I was raised in the canebrake by an old mama lion. Can't no high-tone woman make me walk the line. You load 16 tons.
It's a love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love put me on the top of the world, top of the world.
Permit me here and now to promise as a good comrade and a fellow artist that I will not report any of this, whatever it is, to the police.
Welcome to Abandoned Albums, the documentary podcast. Each week, our intrepid group of researchers and music archivists dig through the record crates of the world, finding those albums that may have been lost over time. If a new artist is discovered along the way, well, that's all the better. Using a patent-pending algorithm and spirited debate, we pick one album as an inroad to discuss. Once that is settled, we reach out to the artists and invite them into Thunderlove Studio to chat with your hosts, Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. When we're lucky, they say yes. Our mission with Abandoned Albums is simple: to make sure artists' recorded work remains, or in some cases, lands on, the cultural radar. We invite you to sit back and relax. Thank you for joining us.
I couldn't wait out through the night. I couldn't wait out through the night. I couldn't wait out through the night.
You did say something back then where moments ignite.
I couldn't wait out through the
You
night.
said I love you so much and trembled in fright.
I couldn't wait out through the night.
I wanted to be alone. I wanted to be alone.
And then I said I wouldn't be here, planting seeds for the future with you.
I get the impression that you don't like ska as well as I like ska.
I don't dislike it. I don't hate it.
For me, I don't want to give the impression that it's something that's a regular part of my rotation, but I will confess that almost every time I go back to it, I find it fun. That attitude of we're doing this because it's fun and that's enough. Whatever it is about ska that makes people shit on it, I don't see it.
It always seemed that ska fans were just so militant about ska and ska only.
I listen to the music because it makes me smile, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And so to have Mike Park on from Skankin Pickle,
Yeah.
and then talk about and then kind of leverage his knowledge as a really influential person in that scene, as the owner of a record label that's published a huge number of important records. I'm really, really happy that we got a chance to talk to him, because it popped into my head after that episode with Karina. I thought, I wonder if Mike would like to come on the show. And sure enough, he did. He said yes. So much fertile ground. And then I want to put a disclaimer out there, because, you know, the world's in a fucked up place. And Shauna Potter, on the episode we did with her, mentioned that all variations of hate crime are up. People are acting fucking nuts. And we talk about something pretty specific in this episode that is specific to Asian hate crime, and it's a little triggering. And so I just want to put that at the front of the episode. If that's something that you might be sensitive to, go into this conversation with wide eyes and a clear head. It's not something that we dwell on, but we do touch on it. I'm sure I will always enjoy my relationship with ska because it's simple, and it's music that I can dance to, and it's music that I can get my kids to dance with me to and act silly. There's a lot of ska in our in the Calhoun Adventure Club dance parties. This is a really cool episode. I think Mike Park is an interesting dude and was once referred to as the nicest record label owner in the business. And I found that to be true, certainly in our time with him. He was really kind and shared a lot with us. Was a total open book. So please enjoy Skankin Pickle frontman and Asian Man Records owner, Mike Park.
It's just the normal noises in here.
Mike, I'm Keith. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. So you get the voices right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Jeff.
Hello.
And that's a vacuum cleaner.
Lawnmower.
Let me close the window. Someone just started doing yard work at 6:02. Okay.
I want to dedicate this episode to my little sister, who, whether she liked it or not, for a solid 3 years in high school, had to listen to Sing Along to Skankin Pickle on the way to school each and every day.
What city did you guys grow up in?
We were in Birmingham, Alabama, if you would believe it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, welcome to the podcast, Mike. I don't know that I would have thought to reach out to you if it were not for Corinna Denicky, who collaborated with you on a recent release.
That's the song I Couldn't Wait Out Through the Night, which you heard at the beginning of this podcast.
What called you to be a musician?
I know, like, when I would go see Fishbone in the 80s, every time I'd go to the show, after the show, that adrenaline rush was still so high. And this is just as an audience, a participator in the audience of many. And just that natural high being so unbelievable, where I just couldn't sleep for hours and hours. And then I did a talent show in high school. I think it was like in 1985. And that was like, we did a cover of a romantic song, What I Like About You. And it was just fun, like, whoa, people clapping and screaming. So that was fun. And then from there, I just started playing in bands in high school, and each experience was a lot of fun. And it wasn't until Skankin Pickle where I feel like that was the real, like, the first real band where, like, let's see if we can, like, make this a thing. Maybe we can make a living playing music. And so that's how it started. And that was 1989 when Skankin Pickle started.
And how did you stumble upon the name Skankin Pickle? It sounds almost like a Ren and Stimpy animated type.
Yeah. I was in my first year of college, and it was a biography textbook, and there was like some photos of foods that preserve well, and there was a pickle, and so I drew arms and legs on this pickle, and then the guy next to me, he said, "Oh, it's a Skankin Pickle." I just heard that, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to use that name." And the guy who said it, that's a guy named Shannon Smith. His dad is Kurtwood Smith, who plays or played, I think there's still a reboot going of that 70s show. He played Red Foreman.
Yeah.
Clarence Boddicker in RoboCop.
Oh, wow.
And so, he's the one who came up with the name.
Over your career, after Skankin Pickle, you are perhaps even better known than as a musician. You're possibly better known as the owner of a very influential record label, Asian Man Records, and you've released a healthy number of wonderful ska and punk records. And so I have a couple questions for you that kind of came out of the episode with Corinna, where she was talking about a trad ska band or a trad. What is trad?
So traditional ska, she's talking about like the Studio One era, the original music from Jamaica in the 60s. So the bands that are playing that style, let's say a modern band, you would categorize them, they're playing traditional ska.
Okay. A piece of the puzzle that I'm hoping you can maybe fill in is the notion of black and white checkered. Why two-tone?
So two-tone was a political statement, so of black and white coexisting in unity.
Oh.
And that's what Two-Tone Records is all about.
Okay, so I never knew there was a racial component actually to the foundational like style.
Well, the style came from two-tone. It was a lot of the if you look back at the two-tone era, it was very mod oriented, fashion wise, and a lot of them are just like black and white suits. And you look at the Walt Jazz Co. Specials logo guy; it's all black and white and a lot of checkerboards. So I think Jerry Dammers. I'm not sure if Jerry Dammers was the one who did any of the art. I know he founded two-tone, but whoever the illustrator was. Obviously, they're the ones who made that influential in terms of fashion outside of that British movement, because I think we've adopted it even like present time where the checkerboards are so plentiful, and that wasn't the case in the 80s. People weren't just wearing like checkerboard everything. They were wearing like nice, authentic suits from the 60s, like sharkskin suits, but no like just it's become, and bless all the people who have fun with it. I think it's a little corny, to be honest, but like I just saw a photo of someone just in one of those suits with like a elastic suit where you're covered from head to toe, and he was just in a checkerboard suit where you can't see his face. It was just a one-piece outfit. I was like, that is disgusting, but at the same time, bless him or her.
That's amazing. Okay, one last generic ska thing, and then we'll ask some questions about the band. Where did, if you know the answer, there is a vocalization that is specific
toasting. Is it a rhythmic? Are you talking about the rhythm?
Well, it's. I would describe it as a shika chick chick.
Yeah, just toasting.
Toasting. Okay, where does that come from?
Or if you like Prince Buster, I think was like the founder. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Prince Buster. If you listen to any of his records, there's so much of it. A lot slower though.
Yeah.
And then everyone was doing it. All those two-tone bands were doing it. Even like, and then the Untouchables, that when they were starting at the LA, the US scene, early pioneers, they had it in their music, and freaking Skankin Pickle used it so much because we had a guy that could do it so well.
It's party time, people. So pick up those party platters, pick up some pickles, but be sure and pick the perfect pickle.
Dill Records was you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh. You've been on the DIY tip. Like you've been making your own records and owning your own means of production. It seems like your whole career.
Yeah.
Was there ever money thrown at Skankin Pickle from other labels that tried to pull you away from the DIY aesthetic?
Yeah, I mean, early on, like within our first couple of years, we actually were offered a record deal with Restless Records. I don't know if you remember them. They had put out like They Might Be Giants' first record, and they actually put out an Untouchables record. So it was something that was like entertaining. And then Scotty Brothers also, which is a Weird Al Yankovic label, they offered us, but it's like unless it's like something like remarkable, it didn't really make any sense. And I think at the time we had just watched the Behind the Music with MC Hammer, and he was talking about like turning down his first major label deal because he did the math, and he's like, "Oh, I'll make more money if I just do it myself." And then I was like, interesting. And at the time I was really enamored, and probably still am, with the whole like Discord Records phenomenon of just being able to like keep everything so low priced, and just kind of realizing, wait a sec, all these labels or bands, these records I listen to are all on labels that are run by people in bands. So then I was like, oh, there's Greg Ginn at SST, and obviously later came Fat Mike with Fat, and then Mr. Brett with Epitaph, and of course Ian with Discord, and even with Lookout Records with Larry Livermore, he was in a band first, and so it was just kind of like, yeah, I can do this.
Scotty Brothers Records?
Scotty Brothers, yeah.
It was the home of Survivor, Eye of the Tiger.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we blew that one.
Missed opportunity, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta ask. Sing Along with Skankin Pickle, I've probably listened to in the thousands of times. Opening track, Rotten Banana Legs.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Rotten Banana Legs.
Sure. I didn't write that song. Lynette actually wrote that song. It was about a former friend of hers that she just had a falling out with, and she'd always have just bruises on her legs, just for being a punker, and just being in the pit. But she would just always have bruised legs.
Oh wow!
So that's what the Rotten Banana Legs. But the song is about a failed friendship.
I saw an interview with you pretty recently here where you mentioned that a larger label at some point in the relatively recent past offered you $3 million for Asian Man Records.
Mm-hmm.
And
way too little.
Way too little. Not
way
nearly
too little.
They're lowballing you, Mike.
Yeah.
My brain immediately went to, that's a much larger number than $13,000, which...
Yeah, but at that time, $13,000 was way more detrimental to losing that money at that point in my life.
Yeah.
Than passing on $3 million.
Because $13,000 is a lot of food, is a song about a frustration with a record label, I have to assume.
With a distributor, yeah. So the distributor was called. They don't even exist anymore. It was called CD Presents. They had actually put out like the rap music for rap people compilations.
Yeah.
So this, iconic punk compilation 1 and 2 they put out, and they also were the first label to put out Billy Bragg in the States.
Wow.
So this guy David Ferguson was the owner, and he just stiffed us. We didn't know. We were so young, and we were just excited that someone wanted to distribute our record, and so they kept saying, "Oh, we need more, and we just kept sending them more, and then they make partial payments and just kept adding up. And we're like, "Hey, what's going on? We're idiots."
You described in the way that you operate your record label as someone who prioritizes integrity over profit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I put out a lot of records that I know I'm going to lose money on. I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. And there's records I've passed on because that I knew would make a lot of money because I just don't like the people in the band. And I just want to, at this point, especially now, like maybe earlier on, I'd have to be more, adult about it in terms of like making financial decisions like that. But at this point in my life where I have such a strong back catalog and I don't have to really worry so much about like, is this going to make me money? I just want to work with cool people.
That's a luxury, man.
It is.
Skankin Pickle was such a cool combination of multiple influences. You really could tell that everybody in the band is bringing a perspective. I was recently listening to that album with my wife, who was not as familiar with the band, and it was her first time listening to your version of the Vapors classic Turning Japanese.
Yeah.
And she was bopping along and she said, I love the song. I have fond memories of it. But listening back now, it maybe is a little problematic. And I said, yeah, but Mike has Asian heritage. So she's like, oh, well, then he gets a pass. It's cool.
But the song is the song is about masturbation.
Correct.
So
Yep.
there was no issues with it. I just thought it was funny as an Asian American being able to just sing that song. And it's such a killer song.
I suppose for a band called Skankin Pickle, doing a song about jerking the gherkin is appropriate.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. I will have to re-listen to it now with fresh ears or something like fresh. Anyang Haseyo is if Turning Japanese was not a nod to your heritage, I hope that I'm correct in assuming that Anyang Haseyo is. Yes,
and that's just like the infant words that I know. I just piece them together, so the song makes no sense. It's like hello, goodbye, brush your teeth. Right? Where are you going? It doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason behind it lyrically. It was just like whatever words I could remember, I just put them in a song. And I thought, well, no one else is going to know unless they speak Korean. And At that point, I was like, and even if they do speak Korean, they'll like it.
And last one, and we'll move on. God, I really could talk about it forever. Do you have a personal relationship with Margaret Cho?
Oh yeah, we're buds. We're super buds.
Introducing Miss Margaret Cho. She's the Asian ballet girl who's got much to show. She kind of looks like Connie Chung, but in her own slutty way. It's Margaret Cho. It's Margaret Cho. It's Margaret Cho. It's Margaret Cho.
Yeah, that was for the TV show. That was going to be for the TV show, and then the name of the show got changed, and then she actually did end up using it on one of her comedy records.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it was at the beginning of the record or at the end, but she came to a lot of Skankin Pickle shows and would always just dance on stage, and it was great.
I have a hard time imagining a Skankin Pickle show where there are people not dancing.
Well, there's been many Skankin Pickle shows where there's nobody there, so... Well, I guess there are people dancing because the band are dancing.
Karina brought up a point when we were speaking with her about the ska crowds. There were a lot of fights in the ska crowds, and when they sort of transitioned over into the punk sound, there were less fights. Did you encounter the same thing? You're part of the same scene.
Yeah. Because obviously, most of the skinheads that are going to ska shows, they are part of the Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice. But being affiliated with the skinhead culture myself since the early 80s, even friends of mine that are skinheads, I know when you get a bunch of skinheads together, there's going to be fights, whether they're racist or anti-racist. It's just the way it is, especially older. And it's funny because I thought there would be a new, like, fresh crop of like skinheads with youth culture, and it still could happen, but it hasn't happened in the last 30 years. Like, all the skinheads that remain when I go to shows, it'll be like an old, it's like skinhead reggae band or a trad ska band, and that's when the skinheads come out. Now everyone's so old that they're over the fighting. But yeah, when they were young, my God, especially in LA, there were so many skinheads and like bad skinhead gangs, like the Carson Skins, and there's a lot of fights, and it was scary, but also at the same time kind of exciting too.
I guess.
The last thing that Skankin Pickle did together was the Green album, the last full length anyway. And it was, it's interesting in that it was actually commissioned. It was commissioned by Dr. Strange Records.
Yeah, that was Bill. Just like, man, he was smart to get that from us. He asked us for a 7-inch. I said, yeah, just trying to be nice. Like, yeah, we'll do a 7-inch. And then he said, do you think you could add like a couple more songs? I'm like, yeah, sure. So it was going to be 2 songs, and we gave him 4, and he's like, it's like, man, just 7 inches. They just don't sell. What's the chance you can get me do 10? I was like, we have all these, like, some old songs that never got recorded, and we're like, let's just do some covers. And so we just did it. We didn't put a lot of effort. We recorded that ourselves, and that was before home studios were really like what they are today, with the accessibility to affordable good equipment. We were using an ADAT machine with just like regular Shure 58s and Shure 57 mics, but I thought it came out really good. And so, yeah, we gave it to him, and he sold a shitload. Good for him. But we'd always put out our own records. We could have made that money, but that's fine.
You've got Devo, you've got Gorilla Biscuits, you've got Bad Brains on that record, you've got Bad Manners on that record. Have you got a favorite from the Green album?
What is my favorite? My favorite cover on it is probably so the idea behind that album is each member picks a song, but they've got to sing it. So you had a lot of people who were like the drummer singing that Clark Kent song, which is Stuart Copeland. I liked it because it was just so bad. I just thought it was so funny. So I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I think in general the album is a lot of fun. I do like hearing some of the songs that, like the song we did. Is it? I think it's My Hair. God, I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah,
I think My Hair is on the Green Album. I like that because that was one of the early songs that never got released on vinyl, and so. That's a fun one, and that was one of ours too. So, but in general, I like the record because it's just so funny. Everyone is singing, like Jerry, the trombone player, is singing "Pay to Come," Bad Brains, and Lynette is singing "Devo," and the bass player is singing "Gorilla Biscuits." So I was like, yeah, everyone's putting in their influences and trying to make it ska-ish. We did our best. So that Gorilla Biscuits song's kind of hard to make ska. It's a really weird one.
And yet you did.
No need.
Try not to be a cunt, it's Christmas. Take a tip from Santa's elf. The rest of us are doing our best to be jolly, so don't go looking like you swallowed a bunch of holly.
You've sold a lot of records, man. But you've never stopped making music, whether it was with the Bruce Lee Band or the Chinkies or your own solo stuff under your own name. You've also collaborated with some pretty well-known artists. You know, the one that stands out to me is Kamuri. Would love to hear about your relationship with the band Kamuri.
It's funny because they weren't even on my label. They got signed to Roadrunner Records, Roadrunner Japan. And they wanted to record in the States, and I knew the singer. He was like, we weren't like super good friends or anything, but I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. No, actually a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown San Jose. And he just asked, like, could his band like stay with me for a month? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So 6 of them came and they stayed at my place.
Everything's
it was just nice to be able to make new friends, especially friends from a different country, and to be able to kind of see their excitement. And they got huge in Japan. Like, I had no idea. They had no record out. They became massive, and they paid me back tenfold. They took me on tour, I'd say 5 times, and the first time was they were at their biggest, and it was amazing. Like, felt like just playing make believe every night that all these thousands of people were there to see us. It was just, and they just treated it was insane. Every band member got their own hotel room, and we were so used to just sleeping on strangers' floors. So you can imagine the excitement on our end.
In 1999, you formed Plea for Peace.
Yeah, so during the time, like, musically, I felt like it was, remember the reboot of Woodstock?
Yes.
And all the rapes that were happening during the festival. So you had this original idea of like peace through music, basically, the original Woodstock, and then go to the second coming of it, and it's just this bro fest of just violence, vandalism, rapes, misogyny, everything bad you can imagine. And I was like, man, if this is what's happening in music, I was like, I just felt like I needed to do something. And so I wanted to put together a tour that was more than just like dollar signs or capitalism. Like, can we do something that's, and whatever level that was. I'm not a star. I've never been a star. None of the bands that were on the tour were big, but they were all, they had an underground following. So I was like, can I get enough like-minded people together where we can do something and everyone can take a pay cut and we can contribute instead of just be part of some machine? And so that was the beginning of it. And then it really morphed into like being my city, San Jose, which I think it actually just got bumped to 10th largest city. It was 9th for a while, but we have no all-age venues, which is crazy. We haven't had an all-age venue that does national acts in over 30 years. It's insane. It's insane. So I wanted to open up a youth center here. So we started doing some fundraising, and the problem is, being from the Silicon Valley, it's freaking expensive. So we ended up opening up a youth center in Stockton, which is in the Central Valley. And it was affordable. We had a 5,000 square foot warehouse, $2,500 a month. And we thought, man, this will be a model, and we'll open these up all over the United States.
Wow.
And that failed, of course. We ran out of money after 5 years. So
5 years is a good run. It sounds like
it is a good run. But then we started thinking about like all the money we lost, like well over 6 figures. Like, we should have just bought a building in that decrepit little Central Valley city. We could have been still going today. So we just made some mistakes, and expensive mistakes. Yeah. So that's it. And then once that closed, I was just like, I'm going to just put it on a little sabbatical. It's been so long. It's been so long now. It's been well over 10 years since we've done anything. Time goes by so fast. It's crazy.
it does.
You are described as a progressive activist.
Sure.
Do you still see yourself that way?
Yeah, I think you always have to. If you don't progress, you become that old man shaking his fist at the cloud. And so it's just like, I want to be able to like learn new things and not be caught up in like back in the day this was good or that was good, or the political climate, this is the way it should be. Men are supposed to act this way, women are supposed to act that way. It's just everything should be about progress, and that's including music, including art, movies, animation, comic books.
We'll lighten it up, but I want to share a personal anecdote that just reinforces the need for this kind of thing. 1998, you did Plea for Peace. You also had the Ska Against Racism tour.
Yeah.
You've been outspoken against racism. It seems like your whole career. I have a close friend who is half Asian, recently graduated, and is trying to get into the workforce. And before she finds her way into whatever she's going to do next, she was working in a special needs classroom as a temp, as a substitute teacher. And her experience was so bad because her co-teachers in the room kept saying, would walk past her and say, "It smells like Wuhan in here," and spray her with Lysol. Pretty fucking horrible.
What city?
Again, Birmingham, Alabama. So do with that what you will.
Yeah.
But I think there are people that on the far right, and perhaps not even the far right anymore, just the right, feel justified in saying those kinds of things in 2023.
Sure.
So there is absolutely a need for the vigilance and the continued work. Being told that story just melted my heart and my brain at the same time. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Yeah, but at the same time, like for me, not shocking at all because I've been so involved in the AAPI hate crimes that have been just rampant since COVID-19, or as President Trump likes to call it, the China flu, the Kung flu, the Wuhan flu.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to me at all. It's become the norm. And especially, people talk about the progressive cities. Man, I would say it's more dangerous here than it is in Alabama.
Really?
Hell yeah.
How so?
If we look at the number of hate crimes against Asian Americans, I bet obviously proportionally, if we're talking about population, there's a different size for Alabama versus California. But the reality is it's all happening here and in New York City. So these big progressive cities, if you look at all the hate crimes, I'd say 90% are happening in the two coasts, the liberal coast of California and New York City.
I would agree. Again,
the numbers will skew percentages because so many Asian Americans live on the coast, but it doesn't hide the fact that it's happening in so-called liberal cities.
I have to ask you, why were you in a band called the Chinkies?
The Chinkies were the overtly political outfit of Asian American members who all lived in predominantly white suburbs of the major cities in California. And we had kind of gotten the idea from NWA. And we liked the idea that they were, it was something to make you like think of the name, wonder why it makes you feel weird or uncomfortable, and then maybe learn more about the band. Like, what is this band about? What are they singing about? And so it was definitely an overtly political band with the idea of making people uncomfortable and making people question why they were uncomfortable, and hoping we could share our stories through music as Asian Americans.
Let's talk about the record label. There's some subjectivity as to what release number one was.
Yeah. Less than Jake, Pezcore.
Pezcore.
Yeah.
God, Pezcore. How lucky were you to stumble onto that record? Because it had to have sold amazing.
Yeah, it made it very easy to be a record label from ground level. But also it helped doing Skankin Pickle. Like everything kind of just like, it was the perfect storm for me. Like, God, ska was, before ska hit mainstream, it was so big on the underground that like, it was, what killed it was it going mainstream, to be honest. That's what killed it, because there's whenever something goes mainstream, you have just a million copycats, and that just dilutes the product. So you just had thousands of really bad high school ska bands, bless their hearts, but man, so much bad stuff, and it just became overkill.
At a certain point, the label had enough momentum that, holy cow, Mike, you had to have been sent every single one of those bands' demos.
Oh yeah, my God! I even remember getting the Smash Mouth demo.
No.
Wow, really? Wow.
Oh, good for you for passing on it.
Yeah, so that was when we were with Dill Records as a collective in Skankin Pickle.
Yeah.
That Smash Mouth demo came in. God, I wish I saved it. I could probably sell it.
Right? Put it up on eBay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Slapstick and what that band kind of did for you, because Slapstick morphed into a couple of other bands that eventually became high profile acts for you.
Yeah, so Slapstick broke up and they splintered into two bands, the Broadways and Tuesday. Dan from Tuesday joined the Alkaline Trio while still being in Tuesday. And then Alkaline Trio started taking off, and then the guitarist for Tuesday he started getting older. He wanted to get married, so that band dissolved, and Alkaline Trio was off and running. The Broadways broke up, and half the band started the Lawrence Arms, and then half the band started the Honor System. Obviously, the Honor System didn't get as well known, but we're a great band I would say on par with the Lawrence Arms at that time. And then I'm trying to think of it. Then Colossal happened, which is the drummer for Slapstick, which is a great like emo indie rock, math rock band. Man, way underrated, but put out a freaking amazing record, full length, and one great EP too. So those were, I think, the main bands that shot off from Slapstick.
What an incredible family tree.
Yeah, it was a gift that kept giving. That was one of the cool things about being in a touring band. That's how I met Les and Jake. They opened up for us in Gainesville.
No kidding.
And so being able to like see these bands in their home city, hometown, and it was Slapstick especially. My goodness, that crowd was going ape shit when they were playing, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna see if they want me to put out their record. So I think I talked to them after the show, like, hey, can I put out your record? And they're like, yeah. That was it.
It's as simple as that. Just,
as
hey, man,
that.
you want to work together?
With Les and Jake, I just left a message. I was like, hey, I want to put out your record. And then they called back right away. They're like, yeah, great. Never did a contract. Still have never done a contract.
No way.
You still haven't done a contract with any act, or just Les and Jake?
Yeah, never. With anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's incredible.
I feel like, what's a contract do? A contract only causes problems. Yeah. So I feel like if someone's not happy with me, why would I want to work with them? Like, yeah, leave, take your record. So it's that's how I always viewed it. It's like, what's a contract for? If they want to screw me over, that's kind of going to show their character. And why would I want to work with someone who wants to screw me over? So, and I tell the bands who are like wary about not doing a contract, I'm like, well, this is in your favor. You could just take the record. There's no contract. And they're like, oh,
That's an incredible business model. I got to be honest with you. My hat's off to you, man.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, you don't go to, like, if I was doing a lecture at a university, I'm not going to tell kids, yeah, don't do contracts. Just hope.
Just wing it.
Hope everything works out.
It's like in terms of record labels, you've got like, you're like the Bizarro to Superman. You're like the inverse record label. You do everything backwards.
Yeah, and things don't make sense either. And I try to talk bands out of working with me.
That's not Mike.
I've done it so much where I'm just like, I don't really do anything. I think you could do better on your own. I try to get bands to do it themselves, to be honest, because I feel like, man, you get to keep all the money. Why let someone else take your money? It's so, especially now with digital, it's like, you don't do anything. Just put up your record and sell it at your shows and mail order if you're going to put out vinyl. But a lot of bands are just like, well, we just kind of want to be part of that community. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to do much for you. And they're like, okay, I still want to do it. I'm like, all right. Once I get at that point where they know I've tried my hardest to like talk them out of it, and that way I can't, even if I do a terrible job, they can't get mad at me. So I told you.
This is fucking amazing.
I warned you.
I told you I was going to suck at it.
That's my go-to. It's like there's no way for me to get blamed for anything.
Mike, you've had an opportunity. I'm just going to rattle off some bands that stand out.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, you've had a chance to work with the Queers.
Wow.
Screeching
Jesus.
Weasel.
What?
Smoking Popes. Five Iron Frenzy. The Toasters. One of my all-time favorite artists, Kepi Ghoulie. It has to just be...
Do you want me to tell you if they're good people or bad people? You want to go down that list?
Well, I don't, Keith and I really do prefer to celebrate as opposed to tear down. So if there's somebody that you want to say, yeah, they're terrific, I'm all for it.
They're all good. Ben Weasel sucks. Fuck that guy. I don't like him at all.
His last name.
Kepi is a good guy.
Yeah.
Kepi is just such a ball of energy and just positivity. Everyone should have Kepi in their life.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I loved that Doki Doki record. You still have amazing artists coming to you wanting to work with you.
Yeah, we got lucky just getting the new crop of younger bands. The problem with getting older is really falling out of touch with young bands. And so I've really tried to make a conscious effort to try to see new bands, connect with new bands, and ask. Like a lot of the volunteers that come in, they're younger, so I'll just ask, what are you guys listening to? What's something I should hear? And so that's how I found Small Crush, was through a volunteer, and also Grumpster was through that same volunteer. This guy named Joey Miller, and now he's the road manager for Grumpster, which it's all coming full circle, or everyone's helping each other.
And you're a facilitator of that.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned a band that, gosh, I hope everybody loves. If you find me somebody that doesn't love Fishbone, it's probably somebody I'm not interested in being friends with.
I'll tell you.
Oh, dear.
Fishbone.
Ben Weasel, probably.
Well, God, I didn't talk to him, but it was someone I was surprised. I was on tour in 2004, this Rock Against Bush tour, and I was the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine. I thought, man, this has got to be right up his alley. We're on the bus together, and I'm talking to him about Fishbone. He said, I just don't get it. I was just like, oh, fuck this guy.
All right. So if you're listening, Tom Morello.
Yes.
Eat a whole bag. Oh, my God. No,
but he was very nice. Like he he would always pay for stuff. Like we would go out after a show to a bar, and then he'd be like, "Oh, what do you want?" Whatever. I'd go, "Oh, I'll get this," and then I'd always pretend like I'd pull out my wallet, like pretending to like pay, and he'd always go, "No, I got it." I'm like, "Oh, you sure about that? Okay, I'll get next one," and I never did get the next one.
Remind me not to go to a bar with you, Mike.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go at a show and I'll just wait till someone comes up to me and offers to buy me a drink. It always happens. Like, "Hey, do you want a drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. You sure it's okay?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right."
Awesome.
That's a game I play. I'm very frugal. I like to see how far I can go with spending no money.
To the extent that the record label is run, if I'm current on things, still run out of your mom's garage.
Hell yeah, rent free.
That's
Food.
amazing. And is it true that she's still cooking lunch for you every day?
Not every day anymore, because she would, but the problem is she just makes so much food. I was like, man, I gotta lose some weight. I can't eat that much, so I eat before I go. Then I gotta work.
That's
but
incredible.
she still works at Asia Man. She still helps every day. She packs records every day.
Asian man and mom in parentheses.
Yeah, and she's 87 and she's still working. Like she worked today. She packed like 130 records. So
now, she's doing this by choice, just as a point of clarity for the folks listening. All right. Okay.
Yeah, she does this by choice.
Okay, you're not.
I posted some stuff of her packing records, and there were some negative comments like, "Oh, leave her alone." I was like, "Oh, come on, dude! It's my mom. Just having fun with her."
I can't imagine being with my mom at lunchtime every single day. I think I'd have a poor reaction to that.
Oh yeah, I bite my tongue a lot, and I just.
I bring up Fishbone because you cite Fishbone as being one of the motivators that originally got you pursuing musicianship. And on the last, I think the last Bruce Lee band record,
Angelo plays. Yeah,
Angelo Moore plays some saxophone for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not just the greatest full circle experience, or what?
Yeah, I was able to release 2 of Angelo's poetry albums back in the late 90s. So I was blessed with that. And another idol that I was blessed with putting out their record was Kevin Seconds. I put out 3 solo albums for Kevin. And it's just like Kevin, that's another guy, like he's the real deal. Super, just sweet guy. And like the solo record, I love 7 Seconds. The solo record's like, it's okay. But I just like him so much. I'm like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want, man.
At peak ska.
Yeah.
How many demos do you think you were getting in a year? How many demo tapes were you sent?
Probably, I would say safely over 1,000, because every day I'd get like a handful. So I would say, yeah, well over 1,000.
Did you listen to them?
For a while I did. I think the first couple of years I was listening to almost everything that came in, at least to the first song. But then I started collecting them, and then I would do these grab bags. I'm like, $20 and just a box full of stuff. And I'd put all the demos in there and just random stuff I got.
That's where that Smash Mouth tape went.
Yeah. People love that.
What do you think you're down to now? So over 1,000 a year at peak. How many demos?
We don't get physical demos. We don't get any anymore. 0. So I did get one like a month ago. I'm like, why? Why would someone waste their money sending me a physical demo? And I just got angry and threw it away. It's like, damn you for spending money. Just send, you just send a Bandcamp link or whatever. You can send an MP3. Do I listen to those? No. I used to email everyone back, and I've gotten I've gotten bad recently. I'm starting to just delete emails. I'm like, delete. I'm like, hey, here's our demo. Delete. It just makes it so much easier to write them back.
Well, you can set up an auto reply.
Deletes is more satisfying. Just
I agree with that 100%. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So they have no idea. Did he ever get it? Did he read it? Did it go to a spam folder? They'll never know. Just delete.
I don't see a Harvard business lecture coming from you anytime soon.
No, but I was doing lectures for. God, I can't even remember the organization. It was like a bit like my. It was like my picture, and then like right below me was Mikhail Gorbachev, and I was like, yes. And during that whole time I was with this agency, I got one speaking engagement for MailChimp. Flew me out to Atlanta to speak to their like Friday morning coffee, whatever thing they had. So my speaking engagements was a big failure.
A TED Talk with Mike Park.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, I don't listen to anything you send me. I'm not going to market your records.
Yeah, I don't do contracts. Oh my goodness. We did give you a shout out on the Karina episode where I had placed an order on the website. It was the single that you did with Karina. It arrived, I'm not kidding, 3 days later. It's the fastest I've ever received product. So I guess I'm going to rescind my shout out to you and give it instead to your mom, who probably packed the record.
I actually do the mailing. She does the actual assembling of the records, not the packing in the order. So she does. So we order everything in pieces. The vinyl comes separately, jackets come separately, inserts. So she actually assembles the records.
Okay.
And puts them in a plastic bag.
Then I'll pass out two. I'll give a high five to you and a high five to Mom.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It was incredible. Incredible turnaround. So it's almost 30. Is it 30 years? Or we're coming up on 30
28,
years?
Yeah.
30 years, man. And you're not slowing down.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to slow down. I tell myself that every year though. But I'd like to slow down so I don't have to work so hard, so I can go on more walks and do some more gardening.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Mike, this was really fun, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, it's great. Very incredible business insight.
Hell yeah. You want to start a business? Follow my lead.
Well, you've been doing it for years. You've had success.
Hell yeah. Also, Karina Denike is a total babe. Let's just get it out there in the podcast world. I just want to let her, if she listens to this, she already knows I love her. So I've told her many times, Jeff.
I believe it.
She is a super babe.
I agree, and I'm happily married, so I will back away slowly.
So am I. But I feel comfortable with my marriage that I can say these crazy things. One last thing is that the best record of the year is not on my label, but Jeff Rosenstock Hell Mode is the best record that's come out this year. Polyvinyl Records.
But before we go, you and Rosenstock, he's also in the Bruce Lee band, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all are homies.
Yeah. But man, that guy's a genius. Musical genius.
You make some great music together. So you think his new one is the album of the year, huh?
Oh, have you listened to it?
I have not.
Oh, it's insane. He's so good. I don't even know what to say. It's good. It's really good. It's exciting. So exciting to see your friends just make art that just shreds. Melting faces.
I will check it out.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you again for having me.
Mike, thank you.
This was a gas, man. I thank you for all the music over the years, the stuff that you have been a part of directly and facilitated. It's your fingerprints are all over my record collection. So
Thanks,
man.
appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, Mike, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Many thanks to Mike Park for stopping by and chatting. Check out the show notes section for links to all of Mike's music as well as his record label, Asain Man Records.
This episode of Abandoned Albums was written and produced by Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. The show was recorded at Thunderlove Studio, where it was engineered by
Daphne Morris,
with help from
John Thomas.
Abandoned Albums was edited by
Mike Hunt.
Our theme song is Booty Cooler by Shuggy Otis. In the opening of the show, the songs you heard were Rumble by Link Ray, 16 Tons by Tennessee Ernie Ford, and the Carpenters' classic Top of the World, performed by Shonen Knife. You can stream all of those songs and artists wherever you stream your favorite music.
Original music by Mike Pellegrino.
The songs you heard during this podcast were I Couldn't Wait Out Through the Night by Mike Park and Karina Denike, Rotten Banana Legs, $13,000 is a Lot of Food, Turning Japanese, and Margaret Cho, all by Skankin Pickle. Also, Positive Mental Attitude by Kamuri and Mary Mary Will You Marry Me by the Chinkies. Additionally, you heard a clip from The Rudest Christmas Song Ever by Fascinating Aida. You can find links to these artists in the show notes, and you can stream them wherever you stream your favorite music. Please remember to support independent artists. Oops, I missed one. You also heard My Hair by Skankin Pickle.
If you like what you've heard, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating. It really does help. Thanks for listening.
Grazie. Daily Leaf. Rob Janicki. Mike Pellegrino. Thorina Vella. Ronnie Barnett. S.W. Loudon. Michael Janicki. Peyton Janicki. And our executive producer,
Rufus Thunderlove.
Abandoned Albums receives funding from Damon Pharmaceuticals, the makers of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is the only chewable tablet made to combat stomach unease associated with mediocrity. Taken daily, Ben Affleck can help combat explosive gastrointestinal shame. You can find a multitude of flavors in the incontinence section of your local pharmacy. Ben Affleck, save yourself the embarrassment.
The side effects include dry mouth, headache, anal leakage, muscle soreness, bad decisions, gender confusion, constipation, evil spirit possession, and banality. Use only as directed.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always, obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.